Sometimes I wonder what people see in party leadership, and then they're making all the trouble because they are not in power. There is actually nothing. What we do is more of sacrifices. It's more of sacrifices. We work like me being the state organizing secretary. If I tell you, sometimes 2 weeks straight, like preparatory to this meeting, I could hardly sleep well, I could hardly eat well. Because when I'm doing any serious work, I don't eat to my fill if I have not concluded the work. So you see me, I'll drop, I'll lose weight. At the end of the day, there is no significant benefit arising from there. So I don't understand why people are debating the issue of leadership as though there is a reward, a specific reward for leadership of the party. There is none.
So you're saying there's only one leadership in Bayelsa State APC?
Of course, we have one leadership.
Headed by?
Everybody knows the leader of the party in the state. I don't want to get involved in that debate. When the APC started in 2013, Sylva was in the driving process at the national level. Chief Timipre Sylva was at the driving seat at the national level, and in fact was in pole position to become the pioneer national chairman of the party. Substantive. But somehow the undercurrents within the system played him out. Now, we held our convention at the Eagle Square in 2014. Another convention was held at the old parade ground. And then leadership is not even captured in our party constitution. What some people are arguing is using the PDP constitution to argue APC leadership positions. In our party constitution, from Article 1, the preamble to the last article, there is no mention of leadership. Leadership is only conferred by virtue of the sacrifices you have made for the party. And then when the party was formed, places where we did not have governors were seen as natural leaders of the party in their states. Then places we did not have governors, former governors. We had senators. Senators were not contending for leadership. And so former governors were made automatically made leaders in their areas and relating with the center as such. And that has been the convention of the party from inception to date. So who is leader of the party in the state does not necessarily have any special advantages conferred on him. There is none.
Who is the leader of the party in APC by Bayelsa State?
Mr. Lishman, I don't want to go into that debate. Like I said, everyone knows the leader of the party in the state, and it's His Excellency Chief Timipre Sylva. Everybody knows. But the minister is also one of our leaders, and we respect him for that. We want him to come close ranks and work with the party for the president to win first. Whoever becomes flag bearer, it is not Tokpo Coronation, not even as organizing secretary, that will determine who becomes flag bearer. The delegates or the party members will determine who becomes flag bearer of the party for the governorship election in 2027 or 2028.
Well, your reconciliation committee has met for months. What exactly was the cause of the problem? Why is there a breach in the relationship between former Governor Timipre Sylva and David Lyon and Degi, and also the minister?
Well, some of these things I don't want to even narrate them, but I will at least scratch the surface. Now, when the current minister came into the party, he worked with His Excellency Timipre Sylva as the leader of the party. There was no issue. He was nominated by Chief Timipre Sylva and became Minister for State Agriculture. and Rural Development. Then Chief Timipre Sylva was not holding any position. He was the minister. He never argued for the position of leadership as a result of his position as minister in the federal cabinet then. And then Chief Sylva became Minister for State Petroleum. And then it was time for election. Chief Sylva thought in his wisdom that it was only fair that Chief David Leon ran the election as the standard bearer of the party, because he had made Senator Eneken Lokpobri the minister. He nominated him and he became minister. Now, Chief David Leon is also another critical stakeholder that had contributed to the party. So he felt he should now be the one to be the flag bearer of the party. That brought disagreement between the current minister and Chief Timipre Sylva. And until after the elections, when Chief David Leon won clearly, and then the Supreme Court judgment happened, and later there were insinuations that Chief Timipre Sylva was also implicated in the issues arising to the judgment, that Chief Timipre Sylva knew about Senator Degi's name issue and then fielded him as running mate. So it was a deliberate attempt to scuttle that ticket. These are rumors. We've not heard from the principal actors directly, but these are the rumors around the problems. And that problem began until we went into the congresses that brought us into office. Now, when we were to do the congresses, someone who claims to be interested in contesting for the position of a ward chairman went to court to challenge the congresses that May Malabuni, who was the acting national chairman of the party, did not have the locus to conduct congresses because he was in acting capacity as national chairman. And so went to court. The court, anytime it is close to elections or our congresses, you see fifth columnists coming to try to cause internal disaffection, cause problems within our party, because they have access to state resources. They have control of some of the institutions that are involved in these processes. That was what happened. A court in Bayelsa gave an ex parte motion stopping our congresses. We all know, even as non-lawyers, that ex parte has a lifespan of 7 days. So after the 7 days, we went ahead to conduct the congresses, and the congresses were held across the state, at the state level, at the local government level, at the ward levels. And our ESCO was elected. Then someone went to court that he was interested in contesting as local government chairman of the party, and then challenged the outcome of the congresses. Now, that was the case that now led to the eventual High Court judgment in the state by Justice Aganaba. Now, that judgment has since been appealed. It is before the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt. Okay. The court has not given a date for sitting, and those that funded that case from behind the scenes are no longer interested, because it was orchestrated to cause disaffection and also destabilize our governorship elections in 2023. So since the case has now been overtaken by Vents, they are no longer interested in providing the funding that they did before the elections. And therefore, the case is still pending at the Court of Appeal. Ask these people that are making the argument that the current ESCO is invalid, whether the State High Court is the final court in the matter involving party. After you can see, you must have seen the series of judgments by the Supreme Court that internal party matters should not be entertained, that courts should not even assume jurisdiction in matters involving parties, internal matters of parties. Supreme Court has given several judgments. But, you know, that is why reforms are being made to remove state courts from electoral litigations, because they are used as tools against oppositions in the states. And that is why you see, when a matter is before an appellate court, does the judgment of the lower court still subsist in a matter that is already before the Court of Appeal? It doesn't. So when people are saying that our ESCO has been dissolved and therefore no one is recognized, if no one is recognized, then where is the leadership? Do we have another leadership that has been elected, appointed, or how nominated? There is none. Our ESCO, ably led by Chief Barrister Dennis Otiotio Odoni, PhD, is the only ESCO of the party in the state. And then by December 31st, the tenure will lapse, our tenures will lapse, and then congresses will be conducted. People should start preparing for those congresses instead of making trouble with what is in existence. You saw the national chairman of the party in Bayelsa State just about 3 weeks ago during the MD's birthday celebrations. He came with the national members of the National Executive Committee of the party. Only on the 9th again, they came. A whole lot of them came. In fact, they came in a 22-seater private jet, fueled. So what does that tell you? All the activities that have been happening, including NEC meetings, you see Barrister Dennis Otiotio attending those meetings. The zonal level, everywhere. Then other ESCO members of the party, where statutorily required, also attends such meetings. So what does that tell you?
All right. So
Nigerians should vote for Tinubu. In another 4 years, there are certain things we cannot say in public. But in another 4 years, I trust that a lot of things will happen that will reset this country on the path of development. So people should at least give him that second tenure and then watch what will happen in the country. There are things he cannot do now because he will seek re-election. But by the time he comes back for a second tenure and he consolidates on what he has begun, I'm sure that Nigerians will have a reason to smile. Then going to the issue of the benefits for party executives, I tell you, no one, not even the National Executive Committee members of the party, is paid a dime. Not 1 naira as salary or allowance. Not 1 naira. This thing I'm saying, he should go and make an investigation. Probably in his own ward, he would have somebody who is in the state executive or who is in the local government executive or at least in the ward executive. Unlike parties in government at the sub-national levels, state governments can, give some stipends or salaries or allowances to their members. But as for the APC, from 2015 till date, I can say it without fear of contradiction that no one is paid even 1,000 naira as salary or allowance. Now,
whether a state chairman, organizing secretary,
nobody. I am saying this without any fear of contradiction.
What of national chairman?
No.
The national chairman of the APC does not receive salary.
He is not paid.
He does not have a wage that he draws from the government.
I am telling you, he is not paid.
So also the Bayelsa State APC chairman
Now,
and everybody in your executive from
nobody
2015 till today.
nobody is paid a dime as
You're saying
salary
Adams
or allowance.
Oshomole as national chairman was not receiving any money?
What? How else do you want me to put it? Or should I speak a job?
Adams Oshomole.
Should I speak a job so that everybody will
You
understand?
can do a job, please.
I am saying nobody is paid
Ah.
as party executives in the APC.
No salary, no allowances.
Yes, when certain political activities happen, like the 600,000 naira is mentioning, when we went to Benin, you are going to pay transport, you are going to pay hotel, you are going to buy food, you are going to do some other logistics. So money was given for that, for logistics. If you travel, or if even within the state, sometimes when certain party activities happen, yes, party executives can get little stipends to go home with as transport refund, but monthly salary or allowance is not paid, except probably for states that have governors, and the governors choose to pay them. I am telling you, as a member of the state executive committee, there is no salary. You can investigate this.
All right.
As journalists, you can investigate this and come out with the finding. Question: is it because of the appointments that I want Bayelsans to vote for the president? It is not only because of the appointments. I have said it. Yes, things are difficult, I admit. I am one person that finds it difficult to lie. I am also facing the economic challenges. But I also understand that if you want to plant, if you want to harvest, you plant first. You will cultivate, you will plant, you will weed, you will nurture until you harvest. The period of cultivation to nursing of the crops until harvest is a very excruciating period. In national development, sacrifices are made like this before breakthroughs happen. I would not sit here and say that this is where we ought to be. We definitely need to be in a better place. But the country has found itself in the current dilemma. Now, this president is working to reset the country and put it on the path of development. Look, even borrowing is not a bad thing, as it were. People think, except you are borrowing to pay salaries. People should understand that this administration is not borrowing to pay salaries. It's not borrowing for recurrent expenditure. Any borrowing at all is going into capital expenditure. Now, there is a theory in development. When I come on radio, I'd like to have our conversations in a way that the ordinary people listening to me out there would also understand. But let me just use one theory of development to explain why borrowing is not a bad thing, as it were. We have a theory called modernization theory in political science. Modernization. Under modernization theory, you have a number of other theories that explain why the third world countries are underdeveloped the way they are. We have what we call theory of W.W. Rostow, which identifies 5 stages of growth that every country must pass through. Every society must pass through a traditional society. Every society must pass through a transitional stage. Then another stage is the takeoff stage. Then drive to development and the age of self-actualization stage, which is the last stage of development, which countries like the United States, Canada, France, Germany, and other countries have reached. Now, there is also what we call the frontier thesis, which says that the search for development should begin and end within the frontiers of a country. And then another one is called the capital shortage theory, which states that third world countries do not have the required capital for investment and development. Therefore, the solution to it is they should borrow from multilateral international institutions or foreign countries. But the money borrowed should be put into the productive sectors of the economy. And then the business or the investment should start to yield profit before the repayment period of the loan. And the profit accruing from the business should exceed the interest paid on the loan. Now, the problem has been that African countries borrow to pay salaries. They borrow and steal from it. That has been the problem. But if monies are borrowed and it's invested in the productive sectors of the economy, for example, in electricity, in road infrastructure, in ports and other sectors of the economy that could promote development, then in the long run, development will set in. Look at the United States of America. It is the richest country with an economy of about $27 trillion GDP. Yet, they are the most indebted country in the world. The debt that US has, if you put the Nigerian budget for 100 years, is not near the debt of the United States. Sometimes you hear about government shutdown. Government is almost shutting down because the debt has almost gotten to the ceiling. But what they do is they negotiate, they lobby congressmen to be able to raise the debt ceiling again so that they can borrow more, so that government can continue. These are things that are happening in the world. In every part of this world now, inflation rates are high, mortgages are high, borrowing costs have increased exponentially. But what the president is doing in Nigeria is to reset the economy and then bring it on the path of development. Now, when development happens, the problem of inequality is another problem to also solve. Because development, there could be growth, which is possibly impacting a very insignificant proportion of the population. And the majority of the population are not feeling that impact because of inequality. So government has to devise means to address inequality.